Hi everyone, Jenny here from the Proven Group, and I'm here with Anthony Grima from the All-Star Academy, and he is the COO. Anthony, welcome to our series on leadership and franchising.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure. Do you want to just give me a little bit of background on your career? Because you've had a super interesting career today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, in the last 15 years, I've been involved in the non-for-profit sector. So I worked at the governing body of soccer, which is football in Victoria, so Football Victoria. And yeah, in the last year, sort of took a turn into franchising. Like everybody, I think there comes a time where you want to put your skills and your experience to real good use. And I think businesses in the franchising sector are so dynamic, so always fast moving, and I think that suited me more. But I had the opportunity to join the AllStars Academy. The founder and CEO, Peter Nikolakopoulos, and his team. Peter's always been someone very inspiring to me. I've known of how he's grown and his business over the last decade and a half. And when the opportunity came to work with Peter, I jumped at the chance because we really have that Batman and Robin type partnership, I feel. And you really want to do anything to when you know the cause and are there for the cause. You really want to do everything for that and to really accelerate that as much as possible. So it's been really good. It's been very exciting. And yeah, so my past life has always been football, but giving back to the community, very humble beginnings where your parents saying work hard, Maltese family, work hard, always do your best, always be kind, always be humble. And I think, I can really put those traits and now, still keep those values in the industry that I really come to enjoy.
I love it. I've always been really fascinated between the linkage between sport and business, because I think a lot of those really intensive coaching skills that are taught in sport are so applicable in business, but the structures just don't exist. So I think it's amazing taking those learnings. That so fascinated by it.
And it's funny. I don't know if you watch Ted Lasso or anything like that, but Peter and I feel like the business is a club. So you've got your best players, you've got your high performers, you've got your low performers. Those are sitting on the bench, and they're your franchisees, right? And they're your even staff members, right? So you're always looking at business from a HR perspective or a franchisee perspective, from a lens of a manager or a business owner or the club owner. And there might be a time where you have to put them on the transfer market, for example. So we're always using analogies. In sport, and it's great. It's really fun.
Yeah, I love it. But I think the learnings are amazing, and I'm sure I know a lot of your franchisees come from that kind of background, so it's even more empowering. Can I ask you, what do you see as the most important leadership skills needed for franchising moving into the future?
Yeah, I think the buzzword is being innovative and all those things at the moment where, the rate of technology and the landscape just rapidly changing. And I'd like to say it's innovative, but I think innovative now is the basic thing. I think you've always got to be, 10 steps ahead, really with your thinking and not just making the decision for now, but for the future, knowing that your business is also not just the franchisee's business, but your business always has to be there in the long run. I think from the day-to-day, and I can only say this from my experience, but what's helped me, and I think it's transferable to whatever industry that you're in, is just to ensure that empathy stays with you. I know there's I think the world's lacking a lot of kindness in general at the moment. I think the way things have happened in the last few years, we've lost all touch of human connection and compassion and just general need to look out for each other. And I think from really everything that, you could do the MBA, you could do all those sorts of things, but if you haven't got the skills needed to be someone who can just be there for another person and to solve their problems and to just be supportive, I think that goes a long way. I really do. You don't have to be a leader for that. You don't have to be the leader of your organisation. And I know it's something as simple as that, but that helps in every conversation. It helps diffuse issues in HR. It helps diffuse issues when there's, disagreements, and I just think that's the biggest thing for me, because I've learned coming into franchising that all my traits, all my values, all my skills have been transferable. And I would say respect and integrity and keeping that empathy for people. You are respected a lot if you can show that's the type of leader that you are. And people will come along with the journey. They can see that you're genuine. They can see that you come from a place of heart, not from a textbook, or, you still maintain integrity, right? You still have processes. There's still the regulations and the need for law and consistent processes and abiding by the rules. But, you do it in a way where it's compassionate,
That message really resonates, and I think in franchising specifically, I think sometimes we get so bogged down in you're this and I'm this label, and this is your box you sit in, that basic kindness is forgotten. And I love that. I think so many people will be able to resonate with that and really kind of take it on board and think about, well, what does kindness actually look like in my business model? So I really, really love that. You mentioned Peter before as being a real inspiration. Tell me a little bit more about the sort of people in your career who have really inspired you to be who you are today.
Yeah, I mean, at Former Victoria, I was fortunate also to be in elite team development, elite team management. So I worked with Melbourne Victory's youth teams and women's teams, and I had the luxury of being able to be team managers to coaches who I've admired over the years, former Socceroos and things like that. And so you can name all the names, that are out there that people that you've looked up to who are great players, great captains. There's so many to name. But I actually, in the early days, I actually had a leader called, his name was Les B. That's what his name was, Les, his surname B. And he was someone I admired so much, because he was always calm and calculated. Always, everything he did was never an issue, and he was just, someone like me was always very fast-paced. Always had to do something. There was always action, and he was the type of guy that was 30 years my senior and had done that. Got to the stage where he's sort of consulting in his career, and chose to work in the not-for-profit sector. He was always telling me, Anthony, you've got three things in life, really. It's people, programs, and partnerships. And he said, if you take those three things with you to every organisation and just start from there, that's the three elements to anything. And I always think of him because he's always a type of person. I talk about compassion and respect and leadership, that he really comes to mind. So it's not really any coach or any captain. He was actually the one who stood out for me, and he was never a good player. I think he was a good coach at one stage, but never professional. But he was the one who did it for me, and was always about, Anthony, just because you're working in sport now doesn't mean you're going to be working in sport forever. And so whatever, advice around courses and education, don't do a diploma of sports management or, a bachelor, do it in management generally, so you can transfer all those skills to any industry. And I think that's what really hit me. It stuck with me. I still see him as a big mentor. He's living in Newcastle, probably in a caravan somewhere now, nomadic lifestyle across the country. But to see to his teachings and over the years, he's been true to his word, and he's really inspired me to be the person that I've become, even not just in business, but in life, with family and things like that. So, really, really important to have good mentors that stick with you.
Yeah. What incredible messages. I mean, I know you've met the most amazing people, and to highlight someone who really has had that kind of impact on you, that's huge. Wow.
And look, yeah, I'm not gonna lie and sit here that people like Ange Postecoglou coaching Celtic at the moment, people that I've known, coaches now that are coaching in Japan, Kevin Muscat, people that are coaching, they're doing really, really well, have not inspired me, and I think they continue to inspire us here, and they're flying the flag for us, and knowing that we want to aspire to be something greater than we are. But ultimately, you have someone who touches your heart, and then you just never forget them. And it doesn't matter what position they have in life. It's just that you remember them as the person.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It's like that quote that people often say. It's what is it? It's how you make people feel that is what they remember. So
always. Yeah.
Amazing. Let's shift the gear to talk franchisees, because franchising, I think, is one of the most exciting business models out there. And when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it really doesn't. But when it works, it really is magic. What do you see as the most important skills for a franchisee to ensure that they're successful?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a great question, because my role as an operations manager is to support the franchisees in our network. The AllStars Academy over the years has done really well and invested in their systems and processes to support the franchisees. We've given them all the tools, all the systems, all the programs, all the processes, all the tricks, all the tips. But ultimately, it all comes down to your franchisee wanting to do it, the mindset, and also for them being able to focus on it, full time. A lot of people come into the roles and they might see it as a side hustle, but it's got to be something that you want to do. You want to change your circumstances, and this particular opportunity in franchising is gonna get you there, right? So if you trust the system, if you do what's expected, if you do the things that are mundane and are potentially hard, and you get them out of the way, but you follow the process, you will be successful. You will be. There's no other way, because you have to become obsessed with it. The reason why you've gone into franchising is because you've invested in an organization that have years and years of experience in doing this and delivering it time and time again. I think franchisees lose sight of that. They get back into their old habits and thinking, I could have done this by myself. No, that's not the case. What you're struggling with is focus, and there's too many distractions, as you know, in this world. Social media, and then everybody's selling that overnight success. You do this and cryptocurrency and all this sort of stuff. All it takes is focus, hard work, discipline, and like everything else, consistency is key. You keep doing them time and time again. We're a term-based business, so we do things in the school term. And basically, week 1 of the school year in term 1 is the same as week 1 of the school year in term 2, 3, and 4. And so we map those processes out for our franchisees. All they have to do is tick the boxes each week and say, look, if you do these things repetitively, contact schools, contact your customers, send the flyers out, go and visit the schools, go and do this, go and check your equipment, make sure your license agreements are all in order. That's the same every term. You follow them, there's a very, very good chance, looking at our high achievers, that you won't just be successful, but you'll actually achieve something that you never thought was possible because of your consistency.
No, I love it. It actually is so simple. I mean, really, you've summarized franchising, haven't you? It's about the system and knowing that it's already working. So follow it and develop with it. Really is the way to go. Absolutely loved our conversation. So many gems of wisdom there. And yeah, really appreciate you joining me, and look forward to seeing how the organisation develops and the really interesting innovations to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. And great work with the things that you're doing. It's very inspiring. And, don't keep, make sure you keep spreading the warmth and that joy. So thank you very much.